Hey guys, welcome back to your channel. Maverick here with episode 5 of Pet. And with this episode, we finally catch up to the current episode. I've been playing catch up for the better part of last month. And not to mention, this is a good time to do consecutive episodes as well, since we left on a cliffhanger last episode where Hayashi and Tsukasa were having their little rendezvous, right? Well, should I say rendezvous? But actually, I would presume that they've met each other before, right? Like I mentioned in the last episode, I think those two have a special relationship. My guess is that maybe Tsukasa is actually one of Hayashi's pets. With that being said, that doesn't really make sense either, but that's the best that I have right now, right? Particularly with looking at the expression of Tsukasa's face. So, yeah, let's just get into it and see what is going to happen. Alright, I skipped the opening as usual, and let's start in 3, 2, 1, play. Yeah, look at his face. Look at him. Okay. Oh, really? Or is he trying to maybe act like a kohai? Yeah, because we actually, all the people around Tsukasa don't really know that he's more entrenched with the company than they think. But for Hayashi, does he know it? Ah, that's that little girl. Satoru. Hmm. Is that why he turned against the company? I I don't know if that's just an act or that's true.
すれば俺社長の息子に昇格なんですよ。すごいでしょ。この俺がついに幹部ですよ。それもこれも全部林さんのおかげですよ。林さんがわがまま言って逃げ出しちゃうから。ベビーくらいいくらでも作ってやりゃいいじゃないですか。正義の味方じゃないでしょ俺たちは。
わからないのかつかさ。俺は道具を作るために山を分けてきたんじゃないんだ。佐藤やお前だってそうだ。
Yeah, he is actually one of the pets of Hayashi.
失敗なんですよ。林さんはそうやって情に任せてホイホイと人に山を分けちゃうでしょ。でもそれがどういうことか分かってないんですよ。だって林さんは人からわざわざ山を分けてもらう
Really?
経験してないんですから。だから山を分けてもらうことがどれくらいありがたいことか理解できてないんですよ。もし林さんに山を分けてもらえなかったら俺はどうなってました。サトルはおそらくサトルも俺と同じでしょうよ。そう考えようとするだけで十分恐怖なんですよ。その感情がどれほどあなたを特別な存在にしているか分かりますか。
Hmm.
あなたは俺たちの絶対なんです。そしてこの絶対はものすごく危険なことなんですよ。
But then, would he actually have the ability to kill Hayashi?
あなた成人してるの？私はマティーニ。あと、彼の分も私の部屋に回してちょうだい。ごちそうするわよ。
ねえ、この人の分も俺の部屋につけといて。
あら、やるわね。若いくせに。
よくいるんだよな。こんななりでいると面白がってからかいに来るアバンチュール女。
からかってなんかいないわよ。ねえ、乾杯してよ。
Hmm.
おっと。大丈夫。
Wait,
汚れなくて
but that probably won't work on her, right?
なんか俺酔っちゃったかな。お姉さんも酔っ払っちゃったんじゃない？なんなら俺の肩に寄りかかっていいよ。気分が楽になるからさ。
ええ。
She's just acting, right?
もしかして乱れてみたい気分じゃない？
いつもこの手で遊んでるの？虚しくない？
誰だあんた。
はじめまして、サトルくん。君のことは林さんから聞いてるわよ。
林さん？林さんに会ったんですか？元気ですか？今どこにいるんです？
私が会ったのは北京だったわ。
パスポート持ってったから海外だとは思ってたけど。じゃあ一緒に仕事
You're so naive, these pets.
私はイメージ持ってないの。ね、場所移りましょうよ。奥の部屋借りるわね。
いえ、しかし。
大丈夫よ。私はこの上の階の客なんだから。
ああ、そうでしたか。
この上にも部屋あったのか。
この絆は強すぎるんです。この先この絆が広がり続ければそれは会社の脅威になります。だから俺は林さんからメイリンを引き離せって言ったんです。絆を作らせないためには人格を持たせるなと言ったんですよ。
お前はどうしてそんなひどいことが言えたんだ。
何がひどいんです。会社のために働けと言ったのは林さんじゃないですか。
たくもういちいち言わないと通じないんだから。まあ仕方ないわよね。ここのオーナーは社員なんだけど、その彼も VIP 会の警備室や研修のスタッフが見張りだって知ってるだけで、他の部署は何をしているかまでは知らされてないの。
VIP room.
潰し屋の存在はトップシークレットなのよ。
あなたは社員ですか？それとも潰し屋？
両方よ。
Now, what's the difference?
って呼んで。 私はあなたより前から林さんのことを知ってるのよ。
そうなんですか。
呆れた。何も聞いて
俺が
ないの
林さん
ね。
に会ったのは12年前だぜ。今25だとしてもまだ13じゃないか。それって社員になれる年なのか。会社の話は仕事に関係することしか聞いてない。
Are we gonna learn more about the company as well?
イメージ使う人がいるって知ったのも
Nobody tells him anything.
まあ、それが会社のやり方だしね。あなたたちの存在が露見しないように会社は
まさか
必死なの。
俺の前に林さんに育てられたのか。
だって
そんな話
あなた
聞いてないぞ。
たちはどんなにコンピューターのセキュリティが完璧でもそれを扱う人間の頭の中をハッキングできちゃうんですもの。そうやって会社がしてきた仕事をよそに知られるわけにはいかないのよ。
この人イメージ。あ、そうか。你是中国人吗？顺便多花也行。
ああ、日本食不动ファイヤー。でもいいわよ、日本語で。気を使わないで。
中国人だな。もし林さんが中国にいた頃に会っていたなら、この人、その頃、
もっとも
8つか
社
9つか。
長がここまで慎重になるのには訳があるのよ。昔ね、いたのよ。催眠術を使いこなして人間を動かせる人たちが。
気候術師ですか。
Did she?
林さんから聞きました。催眠術系の技はその人が習ったって。
I never thought Qigong would be related to hypnosis.
親だったのよ。ずっとマフィアの手伝いをしてたんだけど、そのうち社長が全員を囲って会社を始めたの。
今でいう潰し屋を気候術師が育てたんですよね。
そうなの。社長の妹もそのおかげで潰し屋になれたのよ。
その人だな。最初の潰し屋っての。林さんが初めてシンクロした人だ。
でもある日、数人が裏切って社長の父親を殺してしまったの。
I mean,
その後
when they have
気候術師は一人
all that power,
子供まで会社に殺されたんだ。
why would they want to listen to anyone?
話は知らないことにしておくんだ。
どうしてさ。
そんなことを知ってる人間が会社を大好きだと思うわけがないからだよ。知ってるとバレたら警戒されるぞ。裏切られると誤解されたら困るだろ。
おまけに気候術師が育てた潰し屋だって全員殺されたんだ。そんな中でも社員の桂木さんとイメージを持つ林さんは残っていられたって聞いてるぞ。じゃあこの人なんで生き残れたんだ。
それでね、
さては社長の
その気
親族か。
候術師の裏切り者を見つけてくれたのが林さんなの。だから林さんは会社の恩人なのよ。
聞いてなかったぞ。初耳だな。
あまり言いたくなかったんでしょうね。その人顔見知りでもあったんでしょうから。
そうか。自分が見つけたせいで。
それだけじゃないのよ。
だけどこの人
林さんには他にも
一体何のためにこんな話してるんだ。わざわざなんで見張りの話を俺にした。
Mind game.
だよな。潰し屋じゃなければ調べるところなのに嘘言ってんじゃないだろうな。今目はどっちに動いたっけ。演技じゃないのか。グラス持たせて調べてみるか。
そうだ、何か飲み物を。
俺はこの地球林さんに言われたことを守ってやってきただけですよ。会社のやり方に従え。林さん、悟を連れてきた時俺にそう言ったでしょ。もう一緒に住めないのは会社のやり方だからって。だから仕方なく従ったんですよ俺は。だって林さんがそう言うから。俺はただ。
司もういいんだ。お前も一緒に来るんだ。
I can't. I really.
やだ、もしかして私たち全く同じこと考えてたんじゃない？やっぱり同業者ね。同じような訓練してるから疑う癖がついちゃってるのよ。どうして私が見張りの話をしたと思ってる？知ってるのよ。あなたが見張りをいじって勝手に外出したこと。
あ、やっぱりそのことですか。すいません。
ああ、怒りに来たんじゃないのよ。
Huh.
もう面倒だから言っちゃうけど、実は私社長の姪なの。
ああ、そうなんですか。やっぱり
直接会って社員になってもらえないか探ってこいって言われたのよ。
Join the company.
社員になってみない？
社員、俺が。
そうよ。そうなれば自由に遊びにも行けるわよ。
でもそれは林さんに聞いてみないと。
どうして一緒に住めないんですか？
すまない、司。仕方がないんだ。会社のやり方なんだよ。お前とあの子は一緒に育てちゃいけないんだ。
Yeah, they were both his pets.
会社の言うことをちゃんと聞けるな。
And you know, to a pet,
大丈夫です。
their master, everything.
お前がどうしても嫌だと言うなら3人で暮らしたっていいんだぞ。
あの時の林さんはそんなこと言わなかったでしょ。まさか俺の記憶を変える気ですか？ひどいや林さん、そりゃないよ。
司、
全部なかったことにして俺に協力させる気なんだ。
そんなつもりじゃない。気持ちを伝えたかっただけだ。俺はやり直したいだけなんだよ。
やり直す？一体林さんは何をやり直したいんですか？俺がバカ正直に林さんの言いつけを守って生き延びてきた。
Love turning into hatred.
林さんがいると信じて必死に会社に食い込んできちゃったことですか？それとも俺が林さんの期待に添える正義の味方になっていなかったことですか？わざわざやり直さなくったって俺が今の林さんを理解できさえすりゃ済む話なんですけどね。でもね、それは無理な話なんです。そう簡単になかったことにはできないんですよ。だって今の俺には人格がある。意志も記憶も人並みな感情さえあるんですから。全部林さんが俺にくれたものだ。
Now, in a sense, he's not a pet anymore.
イカれたガキに余計な情をかけてしまったところから、つまりは俺に山を分けてしまったところからやり直さないといけないんです。林さんの最初の失敗は俺に人格を持たせてしまったことなんだ。この失敗を取り返したいなら俺を潰すしかないですよ。じゃないとまだ失敗は続くんです。ここで俺を見逃したら必ずサトルを潰しますからね。サトルを守ってやりたいのなら俺を潰しておくんですね。
俺にお前が潰せるわけがないだろう。
だったら俺が林さんを潰すまでですよ。
お前のスピードじゃ俺にはかなわないぞ。
俺だってね、バリエーションが
So this is how two ability users actually fight.
哎，别让那家伙进来。他是大林的 pet 吧？跟我们不一样，他们改别人的计划。
没事的，他现在是我的 pet，我可比大人管得严多了。
我们你就分担，
哼
新人家 pet 的身份嘛。把他让给我吧。你的信用嘛，要是没人想 pet，习惯早被卖给有钱人了。
何をやってるんですか？俺の記憶をうろうろしている場合じゃないでしょう。
俺はお前も連れて逃げるからな、司。たとえお前にその気がなくてもだ。
そうか、林さん、本気で俺の記憶を変えるつもりなんですね。だけど俺の記憶は変えられませんよ。誰にも変えることのできない記憶を持つことがペットと呼ばれる俺の唯一のプライドですからね。そのために俺はものすごく頑丈な鍵を作ってきたんだ。
Mm.
そうだ、鍵だ。お前の鍵を見せてもらうぞ。
鍵？そうだよ、ヒロキ。
Ah, his lock is hero key?
何があれば誰も怖くて入ってこれないだろ。どうして入っちゃいけないのさ。入れちゃダメだよ、ヒロキ。山にだけは誰も入れちゃいけないんだ。そんなことになったら記憶を変えられたり消されちゃうかもしれないんだぞ。 山を谷で隠して守ることなんだ。
I see.
そうですよ。俺のペットは谷が嫌いでね。
おかげで鍵が緩くなってしまったんですよ。俺はこいつと違って用心深いですからね。鍵はしっかりかかってますよ。
だけどな、司。鍵はしっかりかけすぎると、逆にしまってある場所を教えるようなものなんだぞ。あの犬は何だ？あれがお前の山を隠している谷の要素だな。あの犬が谷への入り口なんだ。お前の谷の場所は分かったぞ、司。そこから山へ入らせてもらうからな。
Could that be a decoy? I don't know, man. This is very riveting to watch. Right, see you guys after this. Alrighty, we got a lot of information in this episode, so let's go through them first, right? I guess we can talk about Tsugasa and Hayashi first. So in the end, it actually was truly a master-pet relationship. Well, I don't really know what the other equivalents to the other counterpart to being a pet is, but let's assume that it's a master, right? A master pet, that makes sense. So they do have this kind of relation, although now it seems that Tsukasa is maybe a little bit going against this, right? You know, he's feeling betrayed, he's feeling neglected by this person that he loved with all his heart, and in a certain extent also being brought up by you know, company members. Really, maybe he's, you know, he's changed. I don't know. It might be also, you know, just purely stemming from envy and jealousness of Hayashi, instead focusing his attention on Satoru as well. But, you know, love, hate, it's a thin line in some cases, right? So I could definitely see where that is coming from. It is pretty interesting to me, however, that Hayashi never had a, you know, a master of his own. He was never a pet of someone else. And that was actually later explained by the company lady, well, the CEO niece, Jin, as well, right? We got the entire company history with the Qigong people and whatnot. So it seems to me that Hayashi is probably one of the first generations. He was taught by those people, and so he learned that, right? And even though he has an image, well, actually, I believe he has an image, right? He is one of the stronger ability users. It's not being given to him, but not like the case of Satoru or Tsukasa, where in their case, I guess since they are special children in a sort of way, once someone shares their peak with them, they have the potential, they can develop into being an image-based user, right? So that's the difference here. Jin probably also has ability powers, but she's not an image user, and I think that might go for, you know, that goes for Katsuragi as well, and potentially the CEO. I wouldn't be surprised if the CEO of this company actually was an ability user as well. You know, it makes sense, right? So anyways, Hayashi is clearly, you know, not fond of, well, actually, we should go back a bit, right? So one question I've kept on repeating throughout these episodes so far is that the company, you know, why is it that these ability users are willing to be at the beck and call of the company, right? If they're able to brainwash people, they're able to hypnotize people, why can't they make it so that they just, you know, completely hypnotize all the people there and say, hey, I'm the boss now, right? If not even more nefarious purposes. So obviously they want to control that, right? And there are various, as we can see, you know, from the company history, you know, the Chigo Masters revolted. They wanted to take over themselves. They killed the CEO's dad, right? Even though later on he was able to retaliate. So of course they would always have this sort of control problem, no matter what you do. And so that is why Hayashi creating these babies, if you call them, is so important, right? Because by creating pets, you're actually creating a group of people that are loyal to this initial ability user, right? And once he creates more and more pets, well, that's going to turn into a case where all of these guys are loyal to that one ability user and they're all ability users. They could easily turn on a company just like that, right? So it is not in the interest of the company to have that many pets there. that is just going to create too many potential problems, right? That's probably also why they didn't allow Hayashi to be with Tsukasa and Satoru at the same time. They needed to balance it out a little bit. You can only have one pet at a time, just in case you grow your forces big enough that it would threaten the company, right? So that makes sense. That completely makes sense there. And of course, there's this mailing girl who, when we're talking about babies, mailing is probably one of the first examples of this. So without, I guess the implication is once you share a peak, but if you don't guide them and allow them to create a lock or whatnot, they will be easily controlled to be even more at the beck and call of the company, and that is what the company actually wants, right? So, and Hayashi being disenchanted with this, wants to leave, totally understandable, right? So yeah, but with that being said, I gotta say here, I feel like the CEO of the company is also playing a pretty dangerous game here. Like, sure, he promised he probably bought Tsukasa under his wing, and now he's saying that he's going to adopt him, become his adopted father. He's going to give him high positions within the company. Still, even with that, I feel like the CEO is taking a gamble here in that how can he be so sure that this bond, this master pet bond that they have is not is weak enough that he can just attract Tsukasa away through money and fame and power and whatnot, right? Like, even though they've been away from each other for like 10 or so years, and this entire time Tsukasa was being I guess brainwashed the traditional way of serving the company, yada yada yada, still they could have totally also went the other way and said, oh, once they got together, the bond is so strong that it's literally unbreakable, and so Tsukasa was instead turned and is now joining the Hayashi cause, right? That is entirely possible. I feel like the CEO is playing a pretty dangerous game there, right? And but with that being said, however, I guess there is another layer to this that I can think about, and that has to do with Jin actually recruiting Satoru at the very end there. So, I was thinking, why is it that they want to, especially at this point in time, suddenly extend an invitation to Satoru to say, hey, you want to be one of the company employees? Particularly when they know that he is a direct trainee of Hayashi, right? Who I think they already know has some anti-company sentiments, either trying to break free or even bring them down, etc., etc. Why would they extend this to Satoru, right? So I think there's two reasons here. One is if they are able to turn both Tsukasa and Satoru against Hayashi, I feel like Hayashi would be devastated. He's not going to be able to raise a hand against them, right? So that would work perfectly in the company's favor. A second thing is perhaps, and to me this is actually a more logical conclusion, they're not actually really trusting of both Satoru and Tsukasa, right? Even though Tsukasa was promised high positions and being adopted son and whatnot, I feel like in a sense that's also meant to placate them so that they'll be happy, and at the same time you can keep them close to you, right? There is a saying, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Them being close to near the center of the company, they're able to more easily observe their actions, so on and so forth, right? So it could also be a more a more deeper plot to that as well, in which they're really still not trustful of these guys. They just want them near the company core so that they won't do anything funny, right? So that's my take on the situation anyways. And yeah, at the very end there, Hayashi's and Tsukasa's little mind battle, if you will. Yeah, I said it at the very end of the episode. I feel like Tsukasa might be laying a trap with that, right? I would not put it past this anime and, the mechanisms they have that they're able to put out, false decoys and whatnot in order to mislead the other ability users into some other part, right? And they might, it's your own mind. It's essentially like laying a trap and then trapping them inside your mind, and that's how you win, right? With that smirk at the very end there, I feel like that is what's going to happen. With that being said, what else? I guess another comment I have would be that this series is actually a lot more intertwined with Chinese and Chinese culture than I originally anticipated, right? So it's not just a one-off. It's not just the Japanese mafia versus the Chinese gangsters or something like that. So literally, they're saying that a lot of these original masters, they come from China, and they taught the technique to at least the first generation of the ability users in Japan, the first generation of the company employees. So I don't know how far they're going to go with it, but it definitely seems that it's a case where they will need to trace the roots of everything as well. And there's probably going to be more ability users coming from China as well, so on and so forth. In fact, Jin could easily be said to be one of them. Yeah. So, that's basically it. I think I covered pretty much everything. It's all making sense so far, right? I'm really curious how Hayashi is going to resolve this entire situation and whatnot. And if I were gonna say anything, I'd say I still don't feel like the company actually has a good enough grasp on all the ability users. But I guess, in a sense, they closely monitor them to not allow them to how should I say it? No, they don't freely share information with each other, the ability users, right? We know that even Satoru, who's pretty close to Hayashi, he doesn't know a lot of things. And I guess this deprivation of information is part of the controlling methods that they use, right? Because information is actually powerful. So, anyways, that's episode 5 of Pet, and from the next episode, we will be able to put out the videos right when they come out. So that is a good thing. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I certainly am enjoying this series so far, and I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.